Hey, I'm Jess.
And I'm Andrew.
And we are the Vamos Life. And today we're going to be going over some of the activities that you can do inside of Everglades National Park.
Vamos. So the first activity we're going to cover is hiking. Down in Flamingo, there's a couple of different hiking options that you have available. So the best one, in our opinion, is the Coastal Prairie Trail, which if you're staying in the campground, it connects right to it and you can start from there. It's about 5 to 7 miles long and it kind of hugs the coast of Florida Bay. You're going to see some open spaces, you're going to see some mangroves, you're going to see a lot of nice things. We saw some ospreys along the way.
Yeah, we saw a really cool osprey nest.
Yeah, so there's some osprey nests in the prairie area as well as along the shoreline. And if you make it all the way to the end of the Coastal Prairie Trail, there are some primitive campground sites that are available down there. If you're going to do that, go backpacking. It's not something that you want to try to take a full load out like we have in the back of the car. It's not going to work. Don't recommend it. So aside from that, there's also the Bayshore Loop, which is off of the Coastal Prairie Trail, that it kind of takes you to the very, very shoreline where you can see Florida Bay and some of the islands out there as well. And there's some cool little beachy areas that we went and we saw some shells.
Yeah.
Some, would you say oyster shells, or?
I don't know what kind of shells they were, but there was a lot of them.
Clam shells, yeah. So really interesting stuff. Definitely check that out. And that's also a good one if you're with little kids that can't do the 5 or 7 miles one way. If you want to do a short little hike with them, definitely do the Bayshore Loop. There's going to be a split right off of the Coastal Prairie Trail. It's quick, it's nice, can't go wrong with that option. The only thing is that there's not a lot of shade on there, so I recommend that you take your long sleeves. There's also some tall grass and shrubs and stuff like that you definitely want to protect your legs, so I recommend some long pants as well.
So another trail that we did was the Bear Lake Trail, and this is a straight shot down and back to the bay, and it was 3.2 miles. Not a whole lot to look at. We had a canal right next to us, but there was a lot of spiders along the route, a lot of banana spiders. I think we saw at least 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And then we saw a snake skin, so we know there's snakes in the area. But it was an okay trail. It was a trail that you can't get lost on. But at the end we saw some people fishing and we went to the bay just to kind of see another viewpoint of the scenery, and it was pretty, but not much to look at when you're walking on the trail.
Yeah, I think the only thing that really is probably good for that trail, if you're not doing the canoe trail that's next to it, is if you want a secluded fishing spot and just want to go out there and hang out and have something quiet, that's definitely it. But just be aware that it's kind of a long walk with a fishing pail if you're taking a lot of bait and water. Maybe a cart might come in handy, but there are some branches in the way, so just keep that in mind.
Another trail that you can do is the Eco Pond. We unfortunately didn't get a chance to go do it, but it's going to be a really good one for little kids. It's only a half mile long, it's close to the campsite, and you just circle around a pond, so it's not going to be too much for a little kid to go out and enjoy, and it's easy to get to. One
more trail that you could also do, which is the Guy Bradley Trail. So if you go to the amphitheater area, there's a trailhead and it says Guy Bradley Trail. It's going to go along the shoreline, and Zach and I saw an osprey nest while we were riding our bikes, so you could also see some stuff there. Maybe a crocodile. We didn't see one, but it looks like an area where you could maybe find one. And then that leads you to the back of the Flamingo Visitor Center and out to the marina.
Okay.
So if you want to walk or ride your bike and you don't want to go on the main road and see something maybe a little bit more scenic, take the Guy Bradley Trail to the marina.
And there's many more trails that you can go out in the Everglades. I mean, there was that snakebite trail that we saw when we were coming in, but there's so many more places to go hike and go see. But after the few days that we were there, we weren't able to get to everything. So if you go back, please let us know what trails you did and comment below which ones you did, and we'd love to hear back.
Yeah, and then just one more thing to talk about hiking. Don't forget to take the right type of protection. So if it's summer, one, I don't advise you to go because it's probably going to be hot and muggy and full of bugs.
Lots of mosquitoes.
But if you're going to do it anyways, you might want to take a mosquito net around your face, long sleeves, long pants. We went in April. It wasn't that bad. The only casualty that we suffered was when we were hanging out, coming back from the Bear Lake Trail, sitting at the dock, was that a horsefly bit our buddy.
Yeah.
So just be careful because there are some horseflies out there. And if you've ever been bitten by one, like I have, you'll know how much it hurts.
So another activity that you can do out in the Everglades is you can go kayaking. And you can go kayaking in the canals and even in the bay. But when we went out, the wind was too much, and so there was wind restrictions put up, so we weren't able to go into the bay area. So we rented a kayaks for 2 hours. That was perfect amount of time. We were able to go down, and we saw a couple crocodiles, and we saw a couple manatees, and it was a beautiful day. Another thing that you need to keep aware of is make sure you have enough water, make sure you have enough snacks, and make sure you're wearing a hat, because when it's sunny out and the sun's out, it just ricochets off that water and it just fries you.
Yeah, there I could talk about that a little bit.
I think you can too.
So, quick story. I have a head mount for the GoPro, and I was like, oh, I'm going to record the kayaking trip, the whole 2-hour entirety of it. Well, the batteries only lasted for about 50 minutes of it, so that didn't happen. And aside from that, I decided to, because I was wearing the head mount, I wasn't wearing what I call my safari hat. That covers, it's a brim hat and it covers everything in the back of my neck.
Head.
So, and I didn't put any sunscreen like I should have, and let's just say that I got completely fried. So,
I mean, look right here.
So my nose is a little red
Beautiful.
and peeling and tender. I got a tan line up here. I
think it's beautiful.
My ear is peeling from back here as well.
Yep.
So if you're gonna go kayaking, take a hat or wear sunscreen, or both.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind.
Yes.
One more thing, that if you're not in the best shape for a 2-hour kayaking journey, you could also buy a ticket to the boat tours that they have, which is $40 per person, where they'll take you along the canal, and I think it makes it all the way to that first lake that's there, and it's narrated, and it'll teach you about the Everglades, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna see some crocodiles.
Oh, for sure.
So they're pretty good. We heard some of the guides spotting the crocodiles and the manatees and telling you about some of the plants and stuff like that. So definitely check that out too if you're not in the mood for a kayaking trip.
Yeah. And they also have double kayaks as well, or tandem kayaks and canoes, and you can also bring your own. So it's a great place to get out and just to see the area at a slower pace and on the water.
Yeah. And one more thing, that if you're into fishing or you just want to relax with a group of people, they do have skiff rentals for shallow water available at the marina, and they also have pontoons available as well. So if you want to take the family out on a pontoon ride, you go up the canal and then hang out on the lake for a day or half a day, they have those rentals available as well at the marina. The next thing we're going to talk about is wildlife. So the Everglades is full of unique wildlife that you can only find in this environment. One example of that, and I think the prime example of that, as a matter of fact, is the American crocodile. So the American crocodile is only found in the brackish waters of South Florida, in Everglades National Park, and some areas outside of it along Florida Bay and along the coastline of Biscayne Bay as well. Birds of prey in the area, we saw some ospreys. We actually saw a lot of ospreys. We saw an osprey in the campsite, in the tree right below where I was trying to take a nap. And
that was a cool experience.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and show that clip here so that people could see that, where one osprey was calling to the other one, and it flew over and then had a little thing. We don't know if it was food or something for its nest.
It looked like there was food in one of the osprey's beak, and showed up in the tree and nestled in with the other one that was already in there calling for them.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
And a better osprey encounter than that was seeing them out flying around in the Coastal Prairie Trail.
Yeah.
That was really good too. But the best one that we saw was the nest that they had right at the marina, right on some type of structure there next to the dam, and you could see them up close and personal, and they were not flying away or trying to attack you or anything crazy like that.
I feel like that nest had been made for a while. Like, it's been there for a while. They are around people pretty much every day. No fear.
Yeah. So if you want to see ospreys, try to check out the marina. Hopefully they're still there.
Yeah.
Really cool, really close up, and we saw some of the young birds flying around and trying to learn how to hunt. So that was a really cool experience. One other pretty cool animal that you can see in this part of the Everglades is the Florida manatee. So one morning when we went to go do our kayak reservations at the marina, we looked in the marina basin, and there was a group of about 10 of them that were, I don't know if they were fighting or horse playing or what was going on, but they were very active, which I've never seen manatees do. And they were, you know, jumping, and their flippers were coming out of the water, and it was really cool. It was really cool. Other than that, we did see a couple of manatees that were grazing in the canal when we were on our kayaking trip.
I got pretty close to one.
Yeah, I think you floated into one.
I didn't.
Pretty close.
I didn't float into it, but I was definitely more occupied in taking the video than I was steering my canoe.
Yeah. So Jess almost floated into a manatee.
But it was a really neat experience. I've never seen one that close before.
Yeah, and they're called sea cows. The cows of the sea, pretty much.
Yeah.
So they weigh hundreds of pounds, and they just cruise around and eat on seagrass and algae on the mangrove bark and stuff like that. So definitely a cool experience.
Yeah. When we were driving, we saw that one snake on the road.
Yeah, so there are... Yeah.
It's pretty filled with snakes, so even though we didn't really see any like up close and personal, don't think that there's none out there, because there's a lot out there.
Yeah, so a problem that we have in the Everglades is pythons. So I think I read an article recently that there's over 100,000, maybe 150,000 pythons in the Everglades, and it's a really big problem because it's an invasive species.
Yeah.
They're not native to Florida. So what happens is that they become an apex predator, and they start eating all sorts of little animals and decimating it, and then the native animals don't have their food supply, and then start starving and dying out and stuff like that. So a big problem. Not good. There's a hunting program as well, and I feel like I'm getting into too much detail, but don't be surprised if maybe you come across a python.
Yeah.
We didn't see one, but they're out there.
Yes, they are.
Other than that, something that you might see is eastern diamondback rattlesnakes. Those are native to this area. Water moccasins, I have seen one in the Everglades, and you'll know them because they're all black. They have that triangular head, and when they open their mouth, it's all white on the inside. Stay away from those. Highly venomous.
Just be prepared and watch out for your surroundings, because I mean the wildlife, they range from anything small to spiders to anything big to manatees. So just watch out, be aware of your surroundings. Another great thing about being out in the Flamingo campground and the Everglades National Park is the stargazing. Like, astronomy is like, it's
ridiculous.
It is insane. There's no light pollution. I mean, the only light we did see was coming from like the
Key Largo,
Keys,
miles away, and that's not a lot of lights,
and it was like
anyways.
a little bit.
Yeah.
So it is just, it's pitch black out there. You can just see all the stars, and I found myself just laying back and staring at them all night long. There was some professionals, because they brought out their big equipment, their big telescopes, and I really wanted to make friends with them, but it didn't happen. But the stargazing out there is primo. Like, go out there, especially near the new moon, and go stargazing.
Yeah, I would recommend you check the weather just to see if it's going to be cloudy at night.
Yeah.
And if it's not, you're going to get a star show.
Beautiful show.
We've been to a few places that could compare to that, I'd say.
Yeah.
So it's a experience that few can compare to.
Yes.
All right, bonus. There's one other thing. It's not specifically in the Flamingo area, but for me being a history nerd, I find it pretty cool. So there is a Nike missile site from the Cold War located within Everglades National Park. There's 4 of these that were scattered around South Florida, but this one is the only one that is still intact and actually is on display. We went there on our way out, checked it out. It was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have the words for it. But I'm going to tease it. Maybe I'll do a special video on that with a little bit more history and background of that. So stay tuned for that as well.
So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel to join us on our journey. And if you want to connect with us, you can follow us on our social media accounts on Facebook and Instagram at The Vomels Life.
And we'll go ahead and drop the links in the description as well.
Yeah.
Until the next one, we'll see you on the road. Bye.
Bye.